What it do? Welcome to the J-Boy Sports Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you don't love the content, you can still do those things because it doesn't hurt to help a brother out, because I would definitely help you out. Make sure that you comment so that we can have conversations in the comments section, because ball is life. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of our excellent content. And make sure that you hang on at the end of this video so that you can see some of our suggested videos, because those are going to be fire as well. Promise you. With that said, Shaquille O'Neal's top 10 list. Now, this is something that I was surprised to see because it just kind of came out of nowhere. And I've heard a lot of people talking about Shaq's top 10 and who Shaq thinks is the best and blah, blah, blah. And I always said, you know, when people talk about Shaq, I say, listen, Shaq understands the game. I know some people like to hate on him. They don't think he's that smart. I do think Shaq takes shortcuts from time to time and maybe doesn't pay attention the way that he should on certain things. But overall, he knows the game. You know what I mean? You can't be that dominant and not have some type of codes or blueprint that you follow to go out there and just straight destroy people the way that he did. There's just no way. There's so many big men. There's so many other players that have played in the NBA, in the world, that play basketball. But Shaq was something that we still probably never have seen since. And unless you saw Wilt Chamberlain before that, you don't know. You didn't see Shaq. You would have never seen anything like Shaq. Now, Dwight Howard was good, don't get me wrong, but Howard's career didn't go the way Shaq's did as far as the longevity of it. Shaq's career kind of ended abruptly, tore his Achilles, and just kind of got out of shape. But before that, I mean, he was an animal. He was a sight to behold, man, just an animal. And Dwight had his time. He was nice, but he just didn't sustain it. So I can't really say that. Seeing Dwight gave you somewhat an idea of Shaq, but he still wasn't Shaq, man. He still wasn't Shaq. He was a better defender than Shaq. I'll give him that. But he wasn't the offensive dynamo that Shaq was. But Shaq came up with this list, and the point of this video is to critique that list. So let's take a look at the list. However, before we do that, though, let's let Shaq tell you the list first.
Hi, I'm Shaquille O'Neal, and this is my top 10 greatest players of all time. Number 10, I have myself. I would take myself off and put the great Julius Erving. Number 9, I have the great Tim Duncan. Number 8, I have Akeem Olajuwon. Number 7, Larry Bird. Number 6, Wilt Chamberlain. Number 5, I will go with Bill Russell. Number 4, I'm going to go with Irvin Magic Johnson. Number 3, I'm going to go with the King, LeBron James. Number 2, I'm going with, rest in peace, Kobe Bean Bryant. And number 1, the greatest player of all time, is Michael Jordan.
So that's Shaq's top 10 list. It was very quick, the way he went through it. But I'm going to be honest with you. I like the list. This is one of the best lists that I've seen. If you're a fan of Bleacher Report, throw that nonsense in the trash. ESPN, burn it immediately. Fadeaway World, send it to space. All these little fake sites that believe in themselves, think they're real boys like Pinocchio. Get rid of them because they suck. Every single one of them is trash. Trash! All of them. This is the best list I've seen. And Shaq's not a quote-unquote expert, but he knows the game. So let's go through this list. Let's go through it a little bit, and let's dabble into this. Julius Erving. So for me personally, Julius Erving is not in my top 10, but he is very much so before my time. I only see the highlights, and what I see from the highlights, I mean, he was tough. He was definitely tough. One of the original high risers, doesn't get enough credit for that. They always talk about Jordan flying. How do you think he learned how to do that? Who do you think he saw do that first? The original is Dr. J, the Julius, the Erving, the smoothest man, one of the smoothest men on the planet. I don't even know how old this guy is. He may be 80. He still looks like he's going to steal somebody's grandmother. He might even steal your daughter on a good day. I'm not even lying. The guy is smooth. It's a smooth brother. So he's not in my top 10 list, but I understand why Shaq added him to his top 10 list. At number 9, he has Tim Duncan. Now, this is interesting to me because on my own personal list, Tim Duncan is higher, a lot higher. I think Tim Duncan is one of the best players we've ever seen. The only reason why Shaq and Kobe do not have 10 rings is because of Tim Duncan. The only reason that Tim Duncan doesn't have 10 rings is because of Kobe and Shaq. And I say Tim Duncan, but he also had David Robinson and some other people, Manu Pao. He had Kawhi at the end. He's played with some goons. Don't get it twisted. He's played with some dogs, some elite players. It's not just him versus Kobe and Shaq. He had guys, and he had a squad. Okay? But as far as top 10, David Robinson is not in anybody's top 10. Mainly because he got murked by Shaq's number 8, Hakeem Olajuwon. But that shouldn't be a surprise because Hakeem Olajuwon also murked Shaq. Shaq left himself off the list, but he's on my top 10. And he's actually fairly high on my top 10. But Hakeem Olajuwon was just an animal. At number 8, that's Shaq's prerogative. I have him on my list, and I'm not going to go through my whole list today. I'm going to make you guys wait for that. But on my list, I actually do have Hakeem in my top 10, and he is like 10 on my list, around there. And it's not because he wasn't nice. I actually think he's one of the, if you're just talking about players, if you're just talking about player talent, you might move him up a lot, to be honest with you. But I go by that with a mix of rings and what did you do your whole career. And as far as I know, Hakeem Olajuwon had a lot of seasons that just were not good. Maybe not individually, but his team success was very low in some of his off seasons. But the two that he really went to the mountaintop, he was just disgusting. And I mentioned David Robinson. David Robinson, talent-wise, was amazing. But he just got destroyed. He won an MVP award, and in that same playoffs got destroyed by Hakeem Olajuwon on Hakeem Olajuwon's way to, I think it was his first ring. But he just destroyed him. Hakeem also is known, like Kobe. Check out that Kobe video if you haven't seen it already, which talks about Kobe beating the most 50-win teams. Hakeem Olajuwon was right there with him. He was one of those guys that actually had one of the hardest playoff runs of all time. Right? He was beating like Magic Johnson, Karl Malone, all of them. He beat all of them in one playoff run. I think they all had 50 wins, and he beat them all. It's one of the most impressive things you'll ever see. And I don't believe he had a top 75 player on his team. The difference between him and Kobe is I think Kobe did it back-to-back, almost did it 3 times in a row. Hakeem just did it once, but I don't believe he had a top 75 on his team when he did that. But he was like that. Larry Bird. Lawrence Bird. Obviously, it goes without saying, he's Larry Bird. The Celtics have a buttload of championships, and he's part of the reason why. So you can't sit up here and say anything bad about Larry Legend. Wilt Chamberlain, obviously one of the greatest players to ever play, but Wilt's not in my top 10 either. And the reason why is not because, I mean, you see and hear some of the stuff, it was freakish. I hear a lot of people like get mad when you say that he didn't score the 100-point game. I can't say that he did or he didn't, but I never saw it, and there's no videotape of it. So for me, Kobe Bryant is the standard as far as the most points I've ever seen, the most points any of us will ever see. There's no footage. Most of the people that probably even saw that Wilt Chamberlain game are no longer with us. God bless them. But, you know, I don't know how much I buy that, because I've heard rumors that it may not necessarily be real. And honestly, we should have asked Bill Russell. He would have, before he passed. I wish somebody would have asked him. But the late, great Wilt Chamberlain is nice and a physical freak. He was the Shaq before Shaq. But he lost a lot. He lost a lot. And if you do the research on him, they said he was much worse in the playoffs because he just didn't play a smart brand of basketball. They said he was kind of all about the numbers. Now, I don't know how... I'd like to do a video on that at some point. I really got to do my research. But that's what they said. They said his numbers drastically dropped in the playoffs. And, I mean, he was putting up... He holds crazy records, like 50 points and 24 rebounds a game. He was doing stupid stuff out there. But in the playoffs, I heard his numbers went down big time. partly because of the man on top of him, Bill Russell. And he wasn't really good in the finals. He struggled in the finals, right? He struggled in the finals. And he played with Jerry West and Elgin Baylor towards the end. And also his numbers dropped down significantly when he went to the Lakers towards the end with Jerry West and them. His numbers dropped down significantly. So Wilt's not on my top 10, but, I mean, he definitely would be in my top 15 or so, I would say. Bill Russell, again, goes without saying, the all-time winningest player of all time. If you want wins, it's Bill Russell. It's not close. He won 11. Just a great ambassador for the league. Went through some very difficult times, him and Wilt Chamberlain, with the color barriers. You got to give these guys a lot of credit. They were, they were definitely impressive in their time period. But Bill, ultimately, to me, if I'm just being honest, great player, great winner, the greatest winner of all time. It needs to really go on his name. He is the greatest winner of all time in any sport, as far as I'm concerned. But he wasn't, his numbers weren't off the charts. He was a center that was shooting 44% from the field or something like that, and that's not really what you want to see out of your center. He didn't average a lot of points per game. He was amazing on defense, so that is a good thing about him. But I just don't think his offensive numbers, in my personal opinion, add up to some of the other people. And I don't have Bill Russell in my top 10, which to some people may be blasphemy, and maybe I have to look at that again. But he's not in my top 10. And it's not because he's not nice. I just think that there's some players also that were, more elite. And Shaq, as you can see, if you look at this list, he left off Kareem. So on my list, Kareem's on the list and Bill's not on the list. So for me, I got Kareem and Shaq on my list, and I don't have Bill and Wilt Chamberlain. Magic Johnson is 4. That's about where I have him on my list, if I'm being honest. Magic Johnson was great. I mean, the best point guard of all time, the only player I've ever seen that could win by passing. I mean, maybe Joker and Tyrese Halliburton for what we're seeing, but Tyrese is going nuts on the clutch shots. But, Magic is Magic. 5 rings, 4 losses in the finals, but 5 rings. One of the greatest passers of all time, one of the greatest players of all time. Clutch skyhook in the finals. The boy was bad. I mean, he was Magic. There's nothing you can really say about that, so I don't have a problem with that placement. LeBron James. LeBron James is on my top 10 list, but he's not this high for me. And some people might be like, I can't believe it. You got him lower than 3? I do. And again, we can get into that another time, but as far as giving him his flowers, LeBron James is one of the best players we've ever seen. If you're talking about overall numbers, he's the best. I mean, as far as the counting stats that you can just count up, the longevity mixed with his, consistency, he has a lot of records. He's done a lot of things that you wouldn't believe most people can do, and he's just a Swiss Army knife. He's a great all-around player. He is. But I have him a little bit lower on my list personally. And then at the top, you have Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Michael Jordan and Kobe are at the top of my list. So this is not different from anything I have as far as those two at the top. I don't think there's ever been any players better than Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant from a talent standpoint. I do think there's some people that have maybe resumes that might, pass certain aspects of Kobe's resume. I think there's reasons for that. So, always check my videos because I am a Kobe guy. So I'm, in the process of making videos to break some of the narratives around that. But if you just take the context and people just throw some nonsense at you, you'll believe it and be like, I guess Kobe wasn't that good. Wrong. That's a lie. They're trying to trick you. Grow your mind. Learn the game. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Watch my videos. All right? You'll be able to educate yourself and be able to fight back against the goblins that try to tell you Kobe wasn't as good as we know he was. But as far as just elite players and when you watch them play, I didn't watch all of Michael Jordan. I caught Michael Jordan towards the end because he was, by the time I started watching basketball, Michael Jordan was on his way out, essentially, and Kobe had just come in. But watching what I saw from Mike, I mean, he's Michael Jordan. I mean, he was disgusting. But what I watched from Kobe, my personal opinion, Kobe is the best player I've personally seen play. I've seen Mike play, and I think Mike is amazing. Don't get it wrong. But for me, I think Kobe was the guy. But Mike had a lot of accolades on top of being disgusting. And that's what separates him and why you can't really argue with anybody that puts him number one. He already had the play style, but he also had the accolades. I mean, he's doing it all out there, you know. So this is Shaq's top 10 list. Went through it. I don't have a real issue with it. I think it's okay. I think it's missing Kareem. I think you definitely got to add Kareem. Some people will argue Curry. I go back and forth with Curry, and it's not because he's not good. It's just because who the heck are you taking out? You know what I mean? Who are you taking out? So Shaq's got a few people in there that I don't have in mind. He's got Julius, Bill, and Wilt, and they're not in mine. So that's where I make space for people like Kareem. But what do you think? Do you think Shaq's list is pretty good? Do you think my reasoning on some of the things I was saying is all right? Let us know in the comment section, right? Make sure that you do that because ball is life. We love to have conversations in the comment section. I will definitely reply. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our electric content. And lastly, hang on at the end of this video so you can check out some of the suggested videos that we know you will love. Thank you very much for your time. I'm very appreciative. I'm very humble. Much love. That somehow you're never